Welcome to AfroWealth Creations. Today we will X-ray local content policies in Africa and Nigeria, with lessons from India. What if Nigeria and Africa's economic future lies in mastering local content? First of all, what is local content? Local content policies refer to regulations and requirements set by governments or authorities to encourage the use of domestically produced goods, services, labor, and technology in projects within a particular country or region. These policies are often used in industries such as oil and gas, mining, manufacturing, and infrastructure development, where governments want to promote local economic growth, create jobs, and develop local expertise. Key aspects of local content policies include 1. Local employment, requiring companies to hire a certain percentage of local workers for projects. 2. Local procurement, mandating that companies purchase a minimum percentage of goods and services from domestic suppliers. 3. Capacity building, encouraging or requiring companies to invest in training and development of local workers to build skills. 4. Technology transfer, promoting the transfer of technology from foreign companies to local entities. 5. Local equity, in some cases, requiring foreign companies to partner with or have ownership stakes by local businesses. These policies aim to reduce reliance on foreign imports, foster local entrepreneurship, and build sustainable economic infrastructure. However, they can also lead to challenges such as increased costs for businesses and potential friction with international trade agreements as nations across Africa face the challenges of global competition, rapid population growth, and fluctuating commodity prices. Many are asking a critical question: how do we leverage our natural resources to fuel long-term, sustainable development? One of the most promising answers to this question lies in the concept of local content policies. In countries like Nigeria, Angola, Ghana, and South Africa, governments are pushing for more local participation in key sectors such as oil, gas, mining, agriculture, telecommunications, and technology. But what does this really mean for the future of Africa? How can these policies translate into real economic empowerment, job creation, and industry growth on the continent? The power of local content in oil and gas in Nigeria. The enactment of the Nigerian Oil and Gas Industry Content Development Act, NOGICD, in 2010 marked a pivotal moment in the country's economic history. The act was designed to promote indigenous participation in the oil and gas sector, which for decades had been dominated by foreign multinationals. By mandating that local companies are given priority in contracts, jobs, and services, the law aimed to retain more of the value created by the industry within Nigeria's borders. The results have been promising, but there is still a long way to go. The oil and gas sector has seen an increase in Nigerian-owned businesses, and more local professionals are being employed in technical and management roles. However, challenges such as corruption, insufficient infrastructure, and skill gaps still hamper the full realization of these local content goals. Could these issues be solved by looking at other global models? What can Africa learn from India? One country that Africa can look to for inspiration is India. Over the past few decades, India has become a global powerhouse in industries such as pharmaceuticals, information technology, and manufacturing. The country's success has been driven, in large part, by deliberate government policies aimed at developing local industries and ensuring that Indian companies and professionals lead the charge. In the pharmaceutical industry, for example, India has become the world's largest supplier of generic drugs, thanks to a combination of strong local content policies, strategic public investments in research and development, and a focus on developing local talent. Similarly, in the IT sector, India's government and private sector invested heavily in technical education and infrastructure, creating a highly skilled workforce capable of competing on the global stage. Could Africa follow a similar path? Africa has no shortage of natural resources. From Nigeria's oil fields to Ghana's gold mines, Angola's diamond reserves, and South Africa's platinum deposits, the continent is rich in raw materials that are highly sought after by industries around the world. But for far too long, these resources have been extracted and exported with very little value being added locally. The question now is, How can Africa move from being merely a supplier of raw materials to becoming a global player in value-added industries? India's success story shows that it's possible for developing countries to transition from resource-dependent economies to knowledge-based economies, but this requires a multifaceted approach. For Africa, replicating India's model might mean taking bold steps to invest in local talent, improve infrastructure, and create an enabling environment for innovation and entrepreneurship. Key areas to focus on. 1. Skill development. One of the biggest lessons Africa can learn from India is the importance of investing in education and skills development. Africa's young and growing population represents an enormous untapped potential. However, without the right training and education, many young people may not be able to participate meaningfully in industries like tech, manufacturing, or energy. Governments across Africa need to prioritize vocational training, technical education, and STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, fields to create a workforce capable of competing globally. 2. Technology transfer. Another critical area for local content development is technology transfer. In many African countries, foreign companies still dominate industries like oil, gas, and telecommunications because they possess the technical expertise and advanced technologies required for these sectors. By creating policies that encourage partnerships between foreign companies and local firms, African countries can ensure that valuable knowledge and technology are transferred to local professionals. Over time, this can lead to the growth of indigenous businesses and the development of homegrown innovations. 3. Innovation and homegrown solutions. India's IT revolution was driven not just by outsourcing but by homegrown innovation. In Africa, there is a growing wave of young entrepreneurs and startups who are developing solutions to the continent's unique challenges. From fintech companies in Nigeria to agricultural tech startups in Kenya, these innovators are proving that Africa has the potential to lead in areas beyond natural resources. Governments should create an enabling environment that fosters innovation, such as offering tax incentives for startups, reducing bureaucratic red tape, and increasing access to funding for entrepreneurs. 4. Public-private partnerships. Another key factor in India's success has been the close collaboration between the government and the private sector. In Africa, similar partnerships are essential for local content policies to succeed. Governments can't do it all alone. They need to work closely with businesses, civil society, and educational institutions to create ecosystems that support local content. This could include joint ventures, where foreign companies are required to partner with local firms, or initiatives that encourage foreign companies to invest in local communities through skills training programs and infrastructure development. 5. Sustainable development. As African countries seek to boost local content, they must also consider the long-term sustainability of their industries. While extractive industries like oil and gas have traditionally dominated the conversation around local content, there is growing recognition that Africa's future lies in sustainable industries such as renewable energy, agriculture, and digital technology. Local content policies should therefore not only focus on increasing local participation in existing industries, but also on supporting the growth of new, sustainable sectors that can drive long-term development. The road ahead. Can Africa become a global economic giant? The potential for Africa to become a global economic powerhouse is immense. But realizing this potential will require bold, innovative approaches to local content policies. Africa must move beyond simply extracting and exporting raw materials. The continent needs to invest in its people, its industries, and its future by creating local value chains that benefit its own citizens. India's experience shows that with the right mix of policies, investments, and partnerships, it is possible for developing countries to rise and compete on the global stage. Can Africa replicate India's model of skill development, technology transfer, and homegrown innovation? What must change for local content policies to truly empower African industries and create millions of jobs? How can the continent leverage its resources to go from being resource-rich to becoming value-adding giants? The answers to these questions will determine the future of Africa's economy. Thanks for watching. Kindly like, share, subscribe and comment and join the conversation.